somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.
What's going on, everybody? You're in the building with the all-knowing, all-loving, all-feeling, all-seeing, all-powerful, just damn all everything, sexy as hell host, folks. And I wish our damn economy and our damn politicians were sexy as hell. They're not. On today's video, folks, we've got some startling reveals from Anonymous about people on the Epstein's list. Folks, the reason we can't get democracy, the reason democracy is in decline is because too many people on both sides of the aisle are on that list, and we'll reveal one of the main people that we all kind of knew was on the list. Every state in the South, ladies and gentlemen, is trying to redistrict and cheat, and I can directly tie that back to the Epstein's list because so many of them mofos is on that list. We've got that. AOC is under fire from a lot of people, and I believe those people are on the Epstein's list. We'll cover that as well. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, Trump, in his punk A way, is attacking another one of our sisters, Rachel Scott, a reporter. That and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, this show starts right now.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, but to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
I've got so many intros, folks. If I was a man who was stuck in the closet, I would pop out. First story we're going to cover. Rachel Scott is a reporter. And there's not many reporters that oppose the White House or give critical questions to the White House that the American people really need. Well, she asked a very simple, to-the-point question. And in traditional white redneck way, what do you think Trump did? He spazzed out. And we're going to get to that video right now. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that I do go stock trading every single day. That's my link, Win by Losing in Stocks. And if you ever want to get a one-on-one with me to learn my system, I've got a link for you right here called calendly.com/Lamont Tyson. Let's take a look at a brother who did a report on what's going on with Trump and just the mistreatment of our beautiful black sisters. Here we go.
Rachel Scott just experienced abuse from the president. That's what I just saw. And I refuse to sit by and allow it without calling it out. Here, you don't believe me? Take a look at the abuse.
So I asked the president, why focus on all of these projects now amid the backdrop with the war with Iran and as gas prices continue to soar across the country?
Such a stupid question you asked. We're fixing up the reflecting pond to the Lincoln Memorial. The one is, you can understand dirt maybe better than I can, but I don't allow it. This is one of the worst reporters. She's
abuse, plain, flat, and simple. The president of these United States stood at the Lincoln Memorial and attacked Miss Rachel Scott, a senior ABC News correspondent, a black woman. Once again, here we go, asking one fair question and call her a horror show, a disgrace to the country is what he said. Said her question was stupid. Said that she understands dirt better than he can. Her question, guess what her question was? Why redecorate a reflecting pool while gas is $4.52 a gallon and we're at war with Iran? That question broke him. He lost composure. Now, I'm going to put your ass in the podium seat, Mr. President. Sir, you are a disgrace. Sir, you sit at 34% approval, the lowest of any president in modern history. Your ass. You have gas up 53% since this Iran war kicked off. You are a convicted felon. You lit the terrifiers. And you pour $2 million into a pond while working families got to figure out pick which bill they got to pay. Follow the damn pattern, y'all. These black journalists like Miss Abby Phillip, says she asked stupid questions. April Ryan, call her a loser. I think the other one, Yamish Ascendor, call her racist and nasty, second rate. And now all of a sudden we got Rachel Scott. Every single one, a black woman doing her job. And this damn president abused them. Now, all you white fathers out there with white daughters, I'm talking to you. This is for you. Your white daughter is in journalism. Your white daughter is in law or any profession. Picture this. Your daughter steps to the mic and President Obama calls her a horror show, or Biden tells her she understands dirt. If Kamala calls her a disgrace to the country, you know what America would be doing? America would burn down. You'll have hearings, resignations, front page news for a whole fucking month. And you'll have Fox News over there. They will be peeing on their damn white couch on Fox and Friends in the morning. But because she's black, folks just scroll past. That's the shit that black people, black women specifically, have to endure on that fucking daily. Excuse my French. That is the double standard here in America. Would your boss survive one day screaming at a black woman? We see you, Rachel. We see you and your Mish, Miss April, Miss Abby. We name it, we see you. We will defend you. Because journalism is the spine of our democracy, people. And the man that can't take a fucking question, he don't deserve to be sitting behind that damn chair. Truth has no part, y'all be well.
Go support that brother. He might make my next volume mixtape of the best black male creators, because I'm right with him. Anybody that knows me and knows the social justice stances I take, the political stances I take, know that I hold black women, African-American women, in the highest regard of all human beings on planet Earth. They have been the most resilient. They are currently the most educated, and they have had to endure more than any other group on planet Earth. And this is just another example of why, ladies and gentlemen. If this would have been little Susie who took her ass to Cabo to go and have a vacation, she comes up missing, we'd be trying to shut the damn country down. But because this is a sister, the man basically called her dirt. That's what he did. He called her dirt. And you think that I'm going to let that go on this channel? Oh, no, 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 no. Trump, dirt is what comes out of your ass each and every day while you wear Depends. That's dirt. Dirt is what comes out of your mouth every time you open it. That's dirt. Dirt is the stuff you're hiding in the Epstein files, which, ladies and gentlemen, if you hold tight, we're going to get to Anonymous dropping some stuff on that too. I'm going to have to clean out the closet on them. That's dirt. And what makes me even more enraged, folks, is because this creator just mentioned several black women that have been accosted by Trump that were journalists. That is not the only women this man has accosted. Look at this list. Letitia James, he's attacked. Bonnie Willis, he's attacked. We already talking about Rachel Scott. He mentioned April Ryan, Whoopi Goldberg, Maxine Waters. These are all other women that have been on Trump's hit list. And why are these women on his hit list and MAGA's hit list? Because the greatest fear to MAGA men is not black men, it's black women. That's what it is. And on this channel, our beautiful sisters, no matter how dark their skin is, because in MAGA world, the lighter you are, the better. The more straight your hair is, the better. Over here, you're going to be uplifted with your kinky twists and your dark skin, the most flawless skin on planet Earth. You're going to be uplifted on this channel. Ain't nothing more beautiful than that. And sisters, you don't need me to help you stay upright because you've been doing it for years, but just know I see you. We're going to uplift you, and don't tolerate this type of bull job. Keep doing what you do. That sister who's reporting has probably had to do 3 times the work the average person has had to do. And in no manner should she be accosted the way she was accosted. Now, having said that, Trump does accost white reporters. So don't think that I'm not saying he's right to do that to them, because he's not. But for some reason, when he does do it to white reporters, that tends to get a little bit of a focus. But like my man said, if this was any blonde Susie that he keeps constantly attacking, Megyn Kelly, for example, they wouldn't be having it. Look at how he's treated MTG and the people that came to her damn rescue. Oh, you would think a white woman jumped out of the Empire State Building and we had every fire station in America down below waiting for her ass to hit the ground so they can save her. But when he attacks a black woman, we get nothing on Fox News. Literally, JD Vance can poke a hole in a couch and have a nut, and we get nothing. But here, ladies and gentlemen, you will get our sisters uplifted. So post your comments, man. We have in the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's a trailer park right now, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody who wants to come out of their mouth and talk about our beautiful sisters like that is trailer park trash. And that's what we have at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Next story we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is a story that you all have been seeing all week long last week. The story of more injustice toward blacks. The story of, really, it's injustice toward whites, but they don't realize it because we've got so many white people, folks, that voted for hate over putting food on their plate. If you're new here, you're going to hear that a lot because that's the way people voted. They voted for hate instead of putting food on their plate. And so the Supreme Court, and all its racist wisdom, decided to gut the Voting Rights Act. And we have the modern day version of Uncle Tom, because I'm not going to disrespect the stereotype Uncle Tom, because he did at the end of his life save 2 black women. The new definition of Uncle Tom is Clarence Thomas. When he gets in the mirror, I would assume he doesn't see nothing brown. I think he's so delusion hell. For all I know, he might went and got LASIK so that he can only see white when he looks in the mirror at himself. But with them gutting the Voting Rights Act, ladies and gentlemen, every southern redneck state that pledged the South shall rise has been trying to rig their elections to give the Senate and the House, the House more votes so that they don't have to deal with the fury of justice is going to come, because all their asses is in the Epstein files and they don't want minorities to vote. So here's a couple of videos, ladies and gentlemen, what's been going on. You probably have seen some of these, but just a reminder of the stark history of this country that, for whatever the reason, during the Abe Lincoln days, we decided to give the South a pass, turn a blind eye to how they was treating black folks so that we could all get along. And now, folks, is the crossroads for this country to put an end to it. Again, let me remind you, I do trade stocks every single day. And actually, I traded today with success, ladies and gentlemen. I traded Qualcomm. That's my stock channel. You can come check me out 9:35 each and every day. And if you've ever thought about trying to learn how to trade stocks, hit me up. I'll give you my system. Let's take a look at all the sad action that has been going on from the gerrymandering of the South attempting to rise again.
So Republicans can gerrymander the entire South over 9 months to silence black voters, but when Dems take it to an actual vote and win, it gets tossed? Welcome to Walmart's America. You see, Walmart gave $1.8 million to the organization that literally invented modern gerrymandering, the Red Districting Majority Project, called RedMap for short. Walmart thinks you won't do anything about it. Prove them wrong. Share this video right now. Every share costs Walmart customers. Then follow me, because we're just getting started on making them pay the full price for their actions.
So yeah, folks, where you spend your money usually is fighting against you. And I think it's never been a secret that Walmart is doing it. But that's not all that happened, ladies and gentlemen. It all started, the originator of the bull jive after the Supreme Court ruling was
racist maps make racist reps. 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 Racist maps.
Tennessee. And shout out to my white folks, man. All y'all can come to the cookout for standing up for us blacks. And really, every time, I think sometimes it gets lost on white people that when we say you're standing up for the needs of black people, oftentimes those needs are yours too. It just, you might not see it that way, but when black people are fighting for equality, we didn't say we're just fighting for black equality. We said equality. It just so happens that for more years, the people that get the brunt of the efficacy of no equality has been Black people. And the people who put these barriers in place, because this channel is all about debunking the myths that racist, rich white men have put in place in society that they do not abide by, but they want us to abide by it so they can continue to manipulate the economic system for their favor. And but white people fall for a hook, line, and sinker almost every time. What's the biggest example I can give you all of that? Raise your hand if you can say Donald Trump twice. Biggest example of that shit. And so shout out to the white people that stand up and resist with us. But Tennessee has been the hotbed. I mean, literally, you had politicians laughing. They had some dude, one politician, that had a Trump flag, and he wore it as a damn cape walking through the hall, just mocking democracy in favor of fascism. Stick around, folks. He's probably on this Epstein list that Anonymous dropped today. But post your comments and let me know what state you live in and what is your state doing to try to uphold democracy. I live in North Carolina, and they've been trying to gerrymander our maps for years. And I'm hoping the people show up and fight this the way they did in Virginia. Now let's go to somebody who is a clown, who wants to be president, who would continue the same stuff Trump is doing, but probably only worse for the rich. And that is JD Vance. And this is a video of everything I tell you that this channel represents, debunking the myths and the hypocrisies put in place by rich white people. I'm going to show you a clip JD Vance did with someone on CNN who has been upholding as best she can journalistic integrity. Take a look at this hypocrisy by JD Vance, called out by Caitlin Collins. Wait a minute, excuse me, not Caitlin Collins. You'll see. My bad. Let's just go with the video.
But you can't police people for being anti-Israel or pro-Israel. You can police people for violating the law. And we have seen some of that with some of these protests.
Okay, so you agree that people who break in and vandalize a building should be prosecuted?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just checking because you did help raise money for people who did so on January 6th, which was, impeding an official proceeding, breaking into a building that they weren't allowed to be in, and vandalizing the Capitol.
Well, Caitlin, I know that this is the...
Oh no! I'm gonna let y'all hear the monkey double backflips he's gonna try to pull to get out of this one. But I just had to stop it for a minute because I do recall in Trump's first term how it was Antifa, it was Black Lives Matters, knocking over dumpsters, breaking into liquor stores, setting shit on fire. That was so bad. But the minute rednecks with one tooth who hang from mountains in Virginia decide to go raid the Capitol, a building and a property that is supposed to be held in higher regard than most other properties in the United States. Not to mention that most of that stuff they were saying about Black Lives Matters, breaking into stuff, was a lie anyway. But let's just say it was the truth. Let's just say that they broke into the Empire State Building. Which one has more weight? Breaking into the Empire State Building or breaking into the capital of the fucking country and trying to overthrow it? I digress. Let's go back to the hypocrisy.
But you can't police people for being anti-Israel or pro-Israel. You can police people for violating the law. And we have seen some of that with some of these protests.
Okay, so you agree that people who break in and vandalize a building should be prosecuted?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just checking because you did help raise money for people who did so on January 6th, which was, impeding an official proceeding, breaking into a building that they weren't allowed to be in, and vandalizing the Capitol.
Well, Caitlin, I know that this is the obsession of the national media to talk about what happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago on January the 6th.
It's not an obsession. I'm just seeing if it's a double standard.
No, let me answer the question, Caitlin. I mean, look, here's been my basic argument about January the 6th. If you beat up a cop, of course you deserve to go to prison. If you violated the law, you should suffer the consequences. But there are people who protested on January the 6th who have had the complete weight of the Justice Department thrown at them when at worst they're accused of misdemeanors. Now, again, there are people who are accused of worse offenses, and that's a problem. But you can't have Black Lives Matter protests protesters who rioted and vandalized goes free when you have people who were actually peacefully protesting on January the 6th who have the book thrown at them? That's the double standard that I'm most worried about.
Yeah, I don't think there's an obsession with January 6th, but it is a legitimate question. And given what you just said there, and as Trump is getting closer to, as he's a presumptive Republican nominee, he has said he would pardon, it's considered a blanket pardon for everyone on January 6th. Are you saying that shouldn't happen? People who beat up cops should be excluded from that?
Well, I think what President Trump has said, and of course he can speak for himself, but I pay pretty close attention to what he says. And I think what the president has said is that people who have this double standard applied to them should be pardoned.
See what I mean? Y'all see why I do this channel? This is exactly why I do this channel. The rich people who put these things in place, these societal narratives in place, are hypocrites. And they want the poor, white, uneducated people to not be smart enough to critically think through their bullshit. Because what that man just said was a bunch of word salad so bad it is worse than two men sitting at each other's assholes with their tongues out. It is that bad. He literally just tried to compare Black Lives Matter to people who rioted at the Capitol, who were mostly white and uneducated. That's what JD Vance did. JD Just Dance form Vance. That's what he just did. He literally just said, and now that video, obviously, as you know, was before Trump became the president for the second time. And what have we learned, folks? We have the benefit of hindsight 2020. Everybody he's pardoned, for the most part, from those riots have been hardened criminals, have been pretty much child molesters. Go check out a IG group called Right Wing Watch. If you haven't already subscribed to them, I'm shouting them out. You can tell them I sent you. And they do reports, it seems like every single week, of people he pardoned that went in there, broke into the Capitol, beat up police, pooped on the desk of politicians. He let them free, and they're criminals, and some of them are going back in jail. I'll give you another double standard that if you want to bring up Black Lives Matters, how many people actually got arrested for doing something in Black Lives Matters, knocking over property and stuff like that? I'll tell you, 0. How many people got arrested for riot in the Capitol? Over 2,000. And they didn't throw enough books at them people because seditious overthrowing is the highest order of crimes. That's why I don't understand why we've allowed the KKK to exist as a nonprofit. They literally were trying to overthrow the North and trying to take out Black people away so that they can have hate feeling better than putting food on their plate. That is your vice president, people. And that is the double standard, the hypocrisy that those type of men have put in place in this society to keep white people who are uneducated happy. That's it. Post your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. That just, man, Lord have mercy. We've got a lot of work to do, people, to get up out of this situation we're in. A lot of work. Next story we're going to cover, ladies and gentlemen, in the vein of people like JD Just Vance, is all these Republican folks coming out saying that they don't like Trump and Trump is doing wrong. What is my contention, ladies and gentlemen? Don't believe them until we go to the ballot box and we see an overwhelming vote for blue. Because short of that, I don't care what you're talking about. So here we have Tucker Carlson, who I'm telling you, I think he's doing all this talk against Trump because he understands Trump is supposed to be a lame duck. And I think he's trying to make a run, him and Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I'm telling you, don't believe a word he's saying because he's still a crook. He's still a horrible human being. But take a listen to what he had to say and let me know what you think.
Do you see a path towards supporting him again? I mean, if he suddenly took actions that you agreed with, do you see yourself coming back into the fold?
I'd support anybody who made life in the United States better. Of course, it's absolutely not personal. And that's part of what I hope to convey by always adding the caveat, but I like Trump because it's not personal. So I would always support and I mean literally anybody, no matter how unlikely the person, no matter how much I disagreed with his previous policies or reviled him as a man or whatever. It almost doesn't matter. If someone's doing a good thing, I want to be honest enough to say, God bless you for doing that. And I support that thing. So it's really about what a person is doing. It's about the fruit rather than the perception. You make this country better. I don't care who you are. I will cheer you on because I live here and I want the country to get better. It's not getting better. Now, it's very hard for me to imagine any scenario in which we look back on the last 2 months, this war with Iran, and say that really made us more prosperous, safer, happier, united our country. I just can't imagine that. But then, a lot of things I haven't been able to imagine. So if that happens, I will be the very first person to say, well, I was completely wrong about that, and I'm sorry. And I'm grateful that I was wrong. And I will really mean it. Because I'm not, again, I don't have any partisan agenda at all. The Republican Party could not be more repulsive to me. The Democratic Party, same thing. So I just am in this weird non-aligned place, and it's totally sincere. Like, I think the parties, and I'm saying this on the basis of a lot of knowledge, are rotten beyond repair, or at least simple repairs.
Can you imagine?
Now, he's partially right. And for some reason, I think he's been privileged to see the Epstein's files. And a lot of the Republicans that have been coming out talking junk against Trump and the administration, I think that they have been privileged to see the Epstein files. They know who exactly is in them, and they're making calculated judgments to be the alternatives to the people who we will eventually find out is in those files, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully we have enough people who normally haven't been educated that are getting educated to understand not to vote for those people, because it is people, folks, who, how can I say this, are on both sides of the aisle. But for the most part, it is, when it comes to the majority of the folks on this list, it is a whole lot of Republicans, 100% more than Democrats. But it's a lot of those Democrats that claim to vote centrist. And to believe Tucker Carlson in terms of both parties are rotten, they are, but I don't think that he is positioning himself to run as third party. He's still going to run as a Republican. So how does that make you above the fray? How does that make Marjorie Taylor Greene above the fray if you're saying both parties are rotten and you haven't told us a plan of how you're going to fix it? I'm going to tell you how you fix it. I'm going to tell the American people and everybody watching this video, how do you fix that? You vote for candidates who do not take PAC money. And the only people not taking PAC money, ladies and gentlemen, are progressives and leftists. Everybody on the right is taking PAC money. Every centrist Democrat to the right is taking PAC money. The only way we get ourselves out of this behemoth of a situation we're in is we vote for more candidates like Mayor Mamdani, like AOC, like Bernie. We need, like Elizabeth Warren, we need those people running for office who are not taking PAC money, because the main story we're covering today that I'm almost to is Anonymous coming out, letting us know that there were some extra people who we haven't heard famously in files, whose names are coming out on those files. And we'll get to that in a minute. But post your comments and let me know what you think about Tucker Carlson. I'm telling you, we can't believe him. If you want to believe him, do it at your own peril. Oh, my boy DL Hughley. His feet got to be tired because he is running through the head of MAGA so bad. He has got to be one person that gets on MAGA's nerves more than some of the other people because he's funny. Fascist regimes always want to get rid of comedians because they have a way of making people laugh that wouldn't normally side with them. Well, DL went on a show the other day, and this is the new thing that's going on in sports because they're paying athletes now in the major sports, basketball and football. Who dominates those sports? 70% or more African Americans. And you have been hearing this outcry from white people that are in positions of power that they don't like that. And DL did a show where he's basically kind of talking about those athletes need to kind of protest and not go to these southern state schools that are, in essence, trying to silence their vote, silence the ability that has helped put them in the position that they are in. And we'll take a look at this video, and then I'll come back and let you know what I think these athletes can do, because it's not as simple as that, but maybe we can work on getting a solution. Here we go.
I don't understand why an athlete would go to a school where the state is ushering in a new iteration of Jim Crow. If athletes stop going to the Tennessees and the Louisiana, the top tier athletes, ESPN and presidents of schools, chambers of commerce would start having conversations.
And they need to be public about why they're doing it.
Right.
You know, the other thing that occurred to me yesterday was, how can the NFL send the Super Bowl to a Jim Crow state like Tennessee after what's going on here, intentionally diluting majority black Memphis with white power?
I think we have to be clear that the only time they like black bodies are when they're entertaining them or when they're on a sports field. Boycott and encourage conventions to not come to Tennessee and to Louisiana and Alabama. Telling people to go vote is not going to work because they've diluted the black vote. And so we have to think of more creative strategies to put a pressure point on them and to make it painful where it matters in economics, in the money.
I think if these 4- and 5-star athletes, they need to understand they are contributing to a system that only wants to erode the situations they have. If you can't run in a state, you shouldn't run in a state. Bring money and resources into a state that is only determined to use those resources to further erode the rights of people that look like you. Black women voted at 92.6%. Their sons and daughters are the ones that are being courted by these schools. It's a simple message. I can't send my child to somewhere where they can't have a political stake in where they live.
Lord have mercy, folks. As African Americans, we do have power. If we didn't have power, we wouldn't be the butt of racism. If we didn't have the ability to shape narratives, change mindsets, we would not be the brunt of why the Supreme Court said gut voting rights. And when we do have the opportunity to have power, we should do the best we can to exercise it for the good of everybody. Like I said, it's hard to separate equality for just black people, unless we're talking about 40 acres and a mule, and that is something that we should have been indebted a long time ago. Short of that, any equitable policy we put in place helps everybody. It doesn't just help poor white people, it helps everybody. It ensures that everybody gets a fair shake at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When it comes to these athletes going to these southern states that have these schools that would pay money, it is going to be a hard sell, because let's just say the top athletes do choose to go to somewhere else that is treating black people and their votes and their rights better. You are still going to have some athletes who are forced to either say, I'm not going to go to school, or I'm going to go to this school that is going to pay me something because all the top athletes have gone somewhere else and of making the money. Now, I think that what we have to do is put pressure on the universities, because they have a lot of sway within their states, because they do bring in economic money to the states. They do bring in TV revenue based on their teams, their sports, and their athletes, and the people that they have associated with these teams. The SEC, the ACC, all these big schools that bring in all these revenue, we should be forcing their chancellors and their boards to go putting pressure on these states, because the threat of losing these athletes should be enough. But I can tell you it's not, because when the Supreme Court did what they did, I've seen too many racist politicians from the South laughing as if it doesn't matter. Having a good time, just chucking it up as if it doesn't matter. Now, what DL is saying, I think, can get a movement started But ultimately, that movement is going to have to go up to the chancellors and the boards of these schools to help in that fight of putting pressure on the states when it comes to voting. So you guys post your comments. Let me know what you think about my boy D.L. Hughley. And now, folks, we get to the main meat and taters of this show. Anonymous dropped a video of people that they saw in these Epstein files. And I'm going to show you the video in just a second. But again, the sponsor of this video is me. Win by losing in stocks. I trade stocks every single day at 9:35. Please come check me out. And if you've ever thought about trying to get versed in trading stocks, you want to learn my system, get a one-on-one with me at calendly.com/Lamont Tyson. As I was saying, Anonymous dropped a video about people you might not have known was in the Epstein files. And folks, I do decree that the decline of democracy is because of the Epstein files. It is because rich people know that their asses is in these files, and they would rather tear the country apart than to have to go to jail and give up this rich lifestyle that they had. And what do we know is a stereotype of white dudes? When rich white dudes, when they're faced with prison, they go and commit you know what instead of going to prison and serving penance. And so I do believe that the reason why we don't get a lot of resistance from certain Democrats is because they're in these files too. Now let's go through these files. Let's see who Anonymous is saying is in these files, and then we can break down some of my thoughts on the folks that are in these files.
The Epstein files are revealing more every day. Jared Kushner, our very own Cushion Our Bushes, has been spotted in the Epstein files celebrating a professional anniversary. But what makes this celebration worthy of our news cycle is the guest list. First on the list was Cory Booker, sitting senator for New Jersey, who was accused of non-consensual touching after being told no on New Year's Eve 1984. Peter Martins, former ballet master-in-chief of the New York City Ballet, accused of multiple accusations of sexual harassment, assault, and physical abuse by dancers. Steve Tisch, the chairperson of the New York Giants. His family is listed as one of those who helped financially restore the tunnels under Central Park, and he was found in the Epstein files discussing women with Epstein. Donald Trump, at least 28 women have publicly accused him of sexual misconduct, including rape, sexual assault, groping, and harassment since the 1970s. Harvey Weinstein, over 80 women have accused him of sexual harassment, assault, or rape. He is serving a 16-year prison sentence. Jeffrey Epstein, a devil that walked this earth in human skin, according to a 2025 U.S. Department of Justice FBI review, Epstein harmed more than 1,000 women and girls. Michael Bloomberg, former New York City mayor, he has multiple accusations of sexist and degrading comments, also alleging that he fostered company culture of sexual harassment. Well, that's one elite Manhattan party where multiple convicted rapists and serial sexual predators casually mingled with the powerful like it was standard high society networking. What really happened at those dinners?
What really happened at those dinners, huh? May those that choose to be brave and speak up always be covered. You're protected in this realm and in the next by sacred.
Lord have mercy. So, folks, you can understand why we've got, now allegedly, let me just say all these people allegedly, because one thing that has frustrated me with social media, anytime somebody wants to talk about the accusations in these files, social media try to take your video down, demonetize you, because we're being controlled by the very people whose names are in these files. Cory Booker's who I'm going to focus on in a minute, and his allegations. But what bothers me about this, people, is there are so many people that we don't know about that are probably left, that are probably on the left, that are center to the right, that you don't hear coming out making more vehement calls for justice for the victims, or making more vehement stops to Trump's bull jive, because Trump is throwing shade. He's throwing cover against the Epstein files, So much so, folks, that there is a pattern of behavior that goes on with this. D.L. Hughley broke it down the other day. Here it is.
You know how many fake assassinated attempts Jim Jones had? So he would fake these assassination attempts that kind of drew his followers closer to him because they felt like our leader's under attack. Is it more conspiratorial to believe that a cult would fake assassination attempts, or that an 80-year-old dude who shits on himself and forgets things is a liar? You know how many
Trump and Republicans have been doing that for years. It's called getting into wars, ladies and gentlemen. Normally they do it to spend money. They use a war as an excuse to spend money and then tell you as taxpayers, you shouldn't be socializing the money that we all pay into the government. I mean, earlier today, I saw an interview where Elon Musk is talking about we need to get rid of Medicaid and Medicare because it's an entitlement. And I want to say, mother effer, first of all, there is no bigger whore to the government socializing their money than you. Number two, people pay into Medicare and Medicaid, and you want to cut it? Why? So that you can have more money to try to take from the government to take your ass to Mars? I mean, if you want to go to Mars, dude, you're the richest man on the world right now. Go to Mars and leave us be. Take your money with you. But I digress. Everybody who wants to get out of something tries to throw a diversion to get out of it. That's what they do. Now, it went from it's a hoax to they released the files to now we gotten in the war so that we could forget the files. And if you don't believe me, ladies and gentlemen, you need to show some kind of evidence to your MAGA friends. If you guys still hang with MAGA, I know I don't. Take a look at Trump's history over the Epstein files.
When reporters ask Donald Trump about Jeffrey Epstein, he often deflects or ignores the questions. But we fact-checked some of the times where he addressed those questions head-on. On July 15th, Trump was asked why his administration has not released as many files as promised.
These files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden information,
This is false. The files are real. The Justice Department has said there's over 300 gigabytes of records and other evidence related to its investigations into Jeffrey Epstein. Many of those documents have already been released. Secondly, those investigations did not occur under Comey, Biden, or Obama. The FBI first investigated Jeffrey Epstein in 2006 and reached a plea deal with him a year later. The president then was George W. Bush. Then in 2019, the Justice Department began investigating Epstein's plea deal. The president during that was Donald J. Trump. So there's no evidence that Comey, Biden, or Obama, quote unquote, made up the files. Trump was asked again on July 25th about his administration's handling of the Epstein files. Here's what he said.
You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times.
This lacks evidence. In Clinton's case, there are two people who say he's visited the island one time. Clinton has denied that, and there's no evidence beyond that. Trump is most likely referring to flight logs. The records show that Clinton traveled on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane more than 24 times, but the logs do not show that he visited the island. It's also worth noting that Trump himself appears in these logs. The records show that he traveled at least 8 times on Epstein's private plane. In July, the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump had sent Jeffrey Epstein a birthday note in the early 2000s with a crude drawing of a woman. Trump denied that on social media. Here's what he said. The Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter, supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. This is false. After Trump made his social media post, the New York Times and other outlets reported on the many drawings that Trump has submitted over the years to charities. He drew pictures of buildings and the New York skyline. A few days later, Trump admitted that he did in fact draw sometimes, but he said he doesn't draw women.
Sometimes people would say, would you draw a building and I'll draw 4 lines and a little roof, for a charity stuff. I don't do drawings of women. That I can tell you.
There is no evidence that Trump was involved in any of Epstein's illegal activities, but he continues to deny, deflect, and make false statements around the matter.
See, ladies and gentlemen, we went from a hoax, lie, to deflecting. And now this brings me all back to Cory Booker and the people who are supposed to be representing the left, which is supposed to stand for justice, standing for minorities, fighting for the middle class and poor, and why so many of them MFers have gone to help be subservient to the causes of Trump. because the Epstein files is not just an American thing. It is an international thing. There are several international players involved in this thing. You want to know who one of them is? Allegedly, Benjamin Netanyahu, who have a lot of Democrats been caking up for, willing to send money to. Benjamin Netanyahu, which explains why a lot of those same Democrats are not responding to the needs of middle class and poor by standing up to Trump and money going to Israel, because most likely they've got some ties to the Epstein files and they don't want that stuff to get out and threaten their legacy, maybe even threaten their freedom. And so you don't believe what I'm saying? Let me show you something Cory Booker just said this weekend that ties back to something he said on the I've Had It podcast. Take a look at this.
You would vote to approve arms sales for Israel in a future entanglement if you thought that was necessary.
Again, we have a long-standing commitment to Israel having a qualitative military edge. I will continue to support that.
You will continue to support Israel's military edge. Now, folks, let me even further take this down the road. Not only did we just saw that there's allegations of him in the files, but who do you think is funding him? AIPAC. I guarantee you there's so many folks in there supporting AIPAC in them files and have done other dastardly deeds that they're propping this shit up, okay? We been knew something was afoot with him, because anytime you chastise him on Israel, calling Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal, he gets into the bed with those dudes who toss better salads than two gay men with their tongues out at each other's butthole. Don't believe what I'm saying? Take a look at I've Had It.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis. And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? And they just say, yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go through this like prism, and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic base with leadership. Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump?
Yes.
Y'all see that word tossing salad I was just talking about? That was it. And he was basically talking about, he doesn't want to say this and that. Folks, he could end it by just not voting to continue to send money over there. I mean, I'm not saying he's lying, but what did I just catch him in? That video with him on I've Had It was before what he just said on this weekend. You see how democracy is declining because of the Epstein files and the connection to international players like Benjamin Netanyahu, back down to AIPAC and those anonymous people giving money there, to the politicians controlled by AIPAC, who same politicians might have something in the Epstein files, voting softly for MAGA policies, folks. We can't have this. And the only way we get out of this is progressives who are not taking this kind of money, ladies and gentlemen. AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Zoran Mamdanis, Graham Plattners, Chris Murphy, Ro Khanna, Jasmine Crockett. We've got to have that wing of the Democrat. Well, some would probably tell me to pump the brakes on Jasmine Crockett because she's kind of sided with Israel on some issues too. But she has later come back and cleaned it up and clarified what she stood for. It makes no sense we're sending them money, people. They've got health care for everybody, education, early child care for everybody, but we keep sending money there while we've got the rich oligarchs here who have something to do with Epstein files talking about they want to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid, something that people have paid into. So, folks, that is the decline of democracy that directly links to the Epstein files. Post your comments, people. Let me know what you think. Please come back and share with me each and every day as I go and do these lives at lunchtime after I'm done trading. Don't forget to like the video. If you want to see me stock trading every day, I get on at 9:35 on this channel, Win by Losing in Stocks. And if you've ever thought about trading or you want to know the system that I've been using, because I did take a win today on Qualcomm, you can get a one-on-one with me, folks. Calendly.com/Lamont Tyson. And we can see if we can help get you making some little extra money in trading stocks. And until that next Sex is Hell video, folks, I'm out.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that pull. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.